All right, so this is Jay from Ohlins. So he is going to talk about a new wonderful shock that he's put on the back of my bike. And he's going to explain what the different parts of it actually do. And hopefully we'll all understand a little bit better. And you can use it, of course, in conjunction with the manual and the guide that comes with the product. But hopefully this will help a little bit. So Jay, tell us a little bit more about this and how the settings actually work.
Yeah, so this is the TTX 22 coil spring. We have three basic external adjusters. We have your rebound here, we have your high-speed compression lever here with 3 positions, open, middle setting, and then fully firm. Some people call that a pedaling platform, but it's not fully locked out. That's not really our philosophy. It just increases it to help the bike not bob when you're on fire roads or road climbs back up the trailhead. So high-speed compression, this is your low-speed compression. So if you're riding a lot of berms and you need more support through them, you can increase your low-speed compression, because think of that as like your body moving. It's like the bike moving. If it's bobbing a bunch, you want to increase it. If you need more mid-stroke support, this will help.
However, is increase clockwise or counterclockwise?
Clockwise, great question. And in our manuals, you'll see that we refer to things as clicks. We measure clicks from fully clockwise, from 0. So in order to get, if we say like I'm 4 clicks out, I turn it all the way clockwise until it stops. That's click 0, and then we count back from there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And similar with the same thing with the high-speed compression knob. All the way clockwise is click 1, 2, 3, and rebound, same thing.
Excellent.
So, generally speaking, if you're riding a lot of really wet, nasty, rocky, rooty, where traction is needed, we tend to run it in the open position, the high-speed compression. And then the low speed, depending on what you're doing, I run this pretty far open, anywhere from like 7 to 4 clicks. And if you're trying to hit a manual or something like that and you don't want the bike to squat out as much, you can add a little bit more. I typically keep mine in 4 and setting 4. But again, your results will vary with your terrain. Our East Coast headquarters are in Asheville, which has those kind of routes, like BC Light kind of. So I tend to leave all my adjusters open. However, on tracks out here, you can turn this knob to position 2, increase your high-speed compression, and this is going to get you way more support. Your bike's not going to dive out. When you hit something really, really fast, you're not going to get bucked. The bike's going to feel much more in control and stable. And again, 3 is more for like lockout or like really, really smooth surfaces, almost like dual slalom. Rebounds, typically the rule of thumb is you want as fast as you feel comfortable with, because rebound is controlling the spring, the whole shock returning to its space, to full extension. And what that means for you on the trail is if you have it too slow, it's not only is it going to feel harsh, but it'll actually pack up, because the rear of your bike cannot return, isn't returning. It's just packing up and staying compressed, and that's going to feel really harsh. So you want as fast as you can so that you can get your traction back. However, there's a fine line where if it's too slow or if it's too fast, you don't want to get bucked, and it's going to act a little wild. So you're trying to find that middle point where it's returning fast enough that you're getting full travel, it's not packing down, and you want it slow enough it's not bucking or anything. So there's that kind of fine point. There's 6 clicks of adjustment here. We have since this shock was developed specifically for this bike, we've taken care of all the heavy-duty valving, leaving it's a narrower adjustment range, but all those clicks are useful. You're not going to get out in the weeds and create a bad tune for the shock. Right. So all the adjusters, you can run them fully open, fully closed. It's not going to ruin how the bike handles. And yeah, that's kind of the general.
Excellent. And so this adjustment here, screwing backwards and forwards,
yes.
You were talking about what that actually does and why that's there? Yeah,
so this is your spring preload adjuster. So you have the spring. This is generally, you need to get the spring in the right rate in order to get the sag right. This is what supports you on the bike. And for this bike, I believe Specialized determines it's 30% of sag. So you want to make sure you get the right spring rate. And we have ours in 14-pound increments, so you can kind of really dial it in. However, for fine tuning, if let's say you're in between one of our spring rates and you're sitting at like 28% sag or 25% sag, what you can do is add spring preload by turning this clockwise. And what that's going to do is lift your bottom bracket up to get you in the right height, and it's going to get you the right sag. But you don't want to go nuts on the preload, because it's going to affect how the bike feels when you come off the landing. When the rear wheel comes off, off the ground and you have a bunch of spring preload, it's going to take more force to get the spring moving again.
Right.
So you want as little spring preload as possible. This is just kind of a way to, because we don't have, with coil springs, you can't get your spring right dead on. So this spring preload is just kind of to help for those in-between spring rates.
Okay, so when you first set this up on your bike, when it's first set up in your bike, is there a particular order of the adjustments that you should make?
Typically, spring rate, this is 80%, 90% of how a bike rides. This is absolutely vital to getting right. Once you get your spring rate right, then you can move on to rebounds. Because typically, most people find their setting and maybe adjust it 1 or 2, depending on where they ride. So you get your rebound set up. Third, that's when you go to compression. Typically, the high speed you can use for varying terrain, like you'll change that every day, but like your low speed will be the last thing you change typically.
Excellent. Okay, anything else you want folks to know about this?
It's designed exactly for this bike. Just let it rip, man. It's yeah.
All right, Jay from Ohlins, thank you so much for giving us a little bit of an update on this. I'll put it on YouTube for folks to help them make sure that they're setting this up right. Remember to get the right spring. Contact your local Ohlins dealer.
That sounds perfect. OhlinsUSA.com.
Thanks so much. Everyone have a great day.